Okay guys, next on the how to sharpen a knife tutorials with ViperSharp, we're going to sharpen this ZT. This is a Hinderer design slicer 0562CF from ZT Knives. Very nice knife. So first thing, put this in the clamp. We've got quite a belly on this one here, you can see. So what we want to do is line this up from heel to tip with a straight imaginary line following the front of that clamp. So right about there should give us the most consistent angle. We'll tighten that down. And put it in the clamp and get started sharpening. Alright, so to make sure we've got match the angle that is here from the factory, we're going to put a little bit of marker on there. Now this is a good example of not over abusing your knife. This knife has been used, but it's still fairly sharp. It's not it's not cutting as nice and smooth as we want it to necessarily, but it's grabbing there just before the belly, but it's not dulled and rounded. So if we don't let our knives get all dull and rounded, then we don't have as big an issue with sharpening. So we get that marker on the edge there so that we can see where we're taking off the material. Estimate our edge. Take a few passes there. And this will also help us to determine the positioning. So I can see that we are getting to the edge all along here up to here, and then we're not over here, so we need to adjust that a little bit. So I'm going to adjust placement in the clamp, and I think just moving this back there, maybe give it a little more of a kick toward the front, will probably do what we need. Get some marker back on there. Okay, and we are still not getting out here, so we adjust it until we're hitting where we need to. So we got to think about where I need that to move, and I'm hitting the shoulder. I think it needs to actually kick back the other direction, so we'll try that. Okay, so I repositioned this, and look at where I ended up with this. This is really interesting. I find this curious because, generally speaking, depending on your blade length, I guess, and then the shape of it, you usually want to go from heel to tip with a straight line following this. But notice, I'm following the main flat of the blade here, and as I work that, I am actually taking off the metal everywhere. And I think the reason here that I'm recognizing is, look at the angle of this. See, we're no longer out here, right? So if this were a longer blade and we had a recurve and a belly and then a straight or something, then you want more of that other placement. But here, where we've got this curve on a short blade, this becomes my I don't know what to call it. This plays into the angle anyway. This becomes the direction of the stone touching the blade. And so here we're straight against the blade. Here we're straight against the blade. Over here we're straight against the blade. See that? And so it's okay to put it on this way when we have a short blade with a belly like that and the round. So play around with that a little bit with the placement to decide where you want to be. Next, we're going to loosen this back here and bring that down to where we're just using the majority of that stone. So we're just not falling in front of it, so we're not going to damage the blade. And then we want to make sure that we've got that one locked in so we're not going to come up and damage the face of the blade. And now we're good to go. We've got some oil on there, so we can go ahead and work that, and that is just beautiful. Taking everything off right to the edge and up to the shoulder, just the way we need it. As I normally see with the factory edge, we do have a little bit of variance at the heel back here. That is very typical, and so we're not taking it away right back at that heel. And if we wanted to make that the same angle as everything else, we'd have to work at it a little bit more to take that material down so that it matched the angle on the rest of the blade. And that doesn't, that's not a knock on the workmanship or anything. We know ZT makes great knives, and I'm actually getting to the very edge. You can see there, if I were to bring the camera in close, which maybe we could do that. So we can see that I am actually getting to the edge. There's just a little bit of a dip from the grinder in that edge back there. So we're going to work this on each side now, make sure that we're apexing, create our burr, and then a few cleanup strokes, and we'll be able to have a razor sharp knife that my buddy can go shave with if he wants to do such a sacrilegious thing as taking hair off his face. And it'll be nice and sharp. Now these strokes that I'm taking there, and that's really all we need to take the burr away. And I can feel that burr, so I know we're there. And you can hear that go away now. So that way we're not creating a burr on the knife anymore, we're just removing it and cleaning up that edge. Now just so that you on the video can hear this, I like to do this on most of my videos to show you the burr, so we're going to put that back on there. And if you just listen and feel with your finger, that's a very slight burr, but you can hear it there. Now if we turn that over and remove that burr, again listen carefully to the sound of the stone and you'll hear the difference when it goes away. A little rougher. And then a softer, higher pitch on those passes once the burr is removed. And there you can't hear that. See how soft that is? Because there's no burr there. Okay. So a few cleanup strokes and then we'll just jump up to 600 and then we can go to the 1200 and complete sharpening on this. And for those of you who are interested in one of these stone holders, just comment below in the video and let me know that you're interested. I'm still doing some redesigning and tweaking on that after I got some feedback from some of you, and I appreciate that. Those of you who used the prototype. And also if you're interested in testing out any of my future prototype parts, again, comment below and let me know, because sometimes I need other opinions to test these things. So 600, several passes there on the blade. We've cleaned that up pretty good. How far you want to, how fine you want to get it, how clean you want to make it is totally up to you, of course, but if we're just looking at getting a user knife back to sharp, well, I think we've done it here already. And so again, we just have to decide, do we want to strop it? Do we want to put some lapping film on there and make it a mirror edge? Or do we just want it to cut open our next knife that we get sent home to unbox, right? All right, we will trade that out now for the 1200. Yeah, that one's holding on too tight. And here we go. And I will go ahead and put some new oil on that. Make sure that's clean. I love feeling that 1200 on a nice high quality blade. It is just amazing to feel that glide and know how beautiful you're making that. You can do a little bit of the back and forth strokes. You might get a micro burr doing that, but it really polishes that edge, especially with the 1200. So it's kind of nice to do that, just to make sure you're getting a nice clean edge. And we're going to do that over here too. Keeping that oil on there, keeping everything well lubricated helps as well. All right. And then once again, my favorite part, or well, besides the fact that it's an awesome tool and does an amazing job, but one of my favorite things is you can take that knife right out of the clamp with the ViperSharp without worrying about losing your angle. Test everything there and make sure that it's sharp. Now remember, when you're testing with paper, test all the way to the tip. It's nice to do a push cut and know that you're going through, but if we want to really test that, we want to be testing all the way along the edge so you can tell if it's catching anywhere. And this is beautiful. This is one of those curls. So there we are. How to sharpen a knife with the ZT.